Hi, this is Holly, and I'm here today at the Distinctive Window and Home Automation Ketra Center located in the Flatiron District. So today we're excited to share with you the experience of Ketra. And before we dig into what we can do with Ketra, I think it's important to start with where we've come in our previous experiences with lighting. So if we think back 4.5 million years ago, that's when we began waking up under the sun. For the last 1.5 million, we've forged around fire. It's really only in the last 160 years that we've invited artificial lighting into our homes with the invention of the incandescent. For the last 60 years, we've then been able to dim that incandescent and give ourselves a little bit more control over the mood and feel of our space. Today with Ketra, we're going to show you all of the amazing things that we can do, but we're going to start by turning the lights to 3000 Kelvin, which is a bright, clear white light that is commonly specified in residential homes. This 3000 Kelvin light is clean, crisp, and it renders colors nicely when we have white countertops and light-colored millwork. But our expectations are a little different than what we typically see with a heat-based light source like an incandescent or even the sun. Oftentimes with LEDs, as we dim them down, they stay at that same color temperature. So what we're left with is a space that feels very gray and washed out. And it's just unnatural based on what we're used to, where the sun sets and before the sun goes over the horizon, the sky is very warm before it goes dark. So instead, what we would rather is that the light dims, but as it dims, it shifts in color temperature and intensity, which allows us to have a warmer space. And this lighting is, again, more natural based on our previous experiences. And it just feels better. It feels like the right lighting to enjoy a family dinner at. So we've looked at what we can do in terms of dimming and shifting color temperature at the same time. But dimming is actually something that's very difficult for most LEDs to achieve. A good LED dims down to 10%. A 10% light level actually appears to our eyes that it's about 33% on, which is a big disconnect and a common point of confusion. So what we like to see is lights dimming down beyond that 10% to a 1%. With Ketra, we have the capability to dim a 1/10 of the 1/10 and dim down to a 0.1%. So what you're going to see is almost the same as a light before it leaves that filament on an incandescent. It's a very low light level that feels right for if you needed to get up in the middle of the night and grab a glass of water. But it's also important to have for maybe a night where you're enjoying a movie at home. You might want to get up, refill your popcorn bowl without disenchanting yourself from the movie and inviting that bright white light back into the space. While we're at this really low light level, I want you to ask yourself, what does it feel like to wake up in the morning? How do you feel as you're preparing for your day, enjoying your first couple cups of coffee, and then heading off to work? The light becomes brighter and more blue, and that's when we're hitting the height of noon and we feel very productive. We're doing our best work. But then we're gonna see that we start to shift back and start to introduce that warmness back into the light. This is when we're wrapping up. We're maybe heading back home, preparing dinner, enjoying it with our family, and then settling down to watch maybe our favorite show before heading off to bed, and ultimately being invited to go to sleep by this light that becomes continuously more dim and warm. Because we're able to do all of those different types of white light, we're able to remix the way that white light is created, and we're able to have an effect called vibrancy. So if we look at this piece of artwork, what we're seeing is a really high quality white light. It's very important to have a white light that renders all colors very, very well so that we're able to see our space and the colors and the furnishings and fabrics that we've chosen so deliberately in the way that they were intended to be seen. With Ketra, what we're able to do is not only dim the light level, shift the color temperature of that light as it dims, but also enhance and change the way that that white light is made through vibrancy. So what I'm gonna do is remix the way that that white light is created. And I want you to keep an eye on those dark blues up in the corner of the painting as they go over the city skyline. So what we'll see is that those blues become more vibrant. The lights in the city buildings seem to pop even more, as if we were seeing it for ourselves in real life rather than seeing it on a painting. What we're also able to do with Ketra is introduce saturated colors into our spaces. This might be fun for adding a splash of color for your favorite team on game day, celebrating patriotic holidays, but we're able to do any of the 16.7 million colors in the visible spectrum. And I think it's important to note that this is a byproduct of being able to create really high quality white light. White light is the culmination of all colors in the rainbow, so this is some fun that we can add in as a benefit to our system. But if we want to think about what we might need at the end of a long day, we might want to come home to a space that's calm and relaxing. Other times we might have some more work to get done, so we might have to bump up that blue light so we can be energized and feel awake to finish up the rest of our day. The last thing I want to do is introduce 3000 Kelvin lighting back into the space. We're going to raise the shades and allow the sunlight to come through. To wrap up, I want to bring us back to where we began with that same 3000 Kelvin color temperature. But now we've lifted the shades and invited the natural light back into the space. What we can see is that the lighting outside is much cooler than it is inside. So this 3000 Kelvin lighting looks a bit too yellow, a bit too dim. So instead, what I'm going to do is invite that natural light in through the space and make it feel like the entire building was made of windows. And what we're seeing is that we are inviting that natural light in and mimicking what's happening outside. We hope this gives you an idea of the limitless opportunities with Ketra, and we hope you'll come visit us at the Distinctive Windows and Home Automation Ketra Center soon.